All right, so let's please have a little bit of an introduction of yourselves. For example, like what team you guys play for, what roles or like weapons, anything like interesting about you guys.
Uh,
Uh,
you want to start or?
I was gonna ask you to go first.
Sure. Hi, my name's Soren. I'm captain of Assault and Pepper. I am both the shot caller and the front line of the team. I play weapons such as Splatana Wiper and Spotter Shot.
Hi, I guess I will go now. So I'm Siren. I am, I guess, kind of a supporty player, objective focused for Assault and Pepper. I've been with the team for over 2 years now, and I play a lot of Rapid Blaster. But when I'm not on that, I'm on kind of mid to short range shooters.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction. So let's like we know a little information about you. Let's get a little more information about the team that you guys were assigned to coach for IDP. So what was the team that you guys were assigned, and did you know anything about the team before like I guess you guys got assigned them?
So we were assigned the team Sheer Cold, who is going to be representing us as Assault and Basil for the tournament. For me personally, I only knew one member of the team, Toma, and I know them for their I guess the TO commentator aspect. They help out in Ludi and SOS, and then I see them on the mic a few times, such as Ludi tonight. And they were an interesting crowd the first time I met them.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm kind of in a similar boat to Soren. I recognize Toma from the commentary scene as Platoon, just through various events as well. So we kind of already knew each other, so that was a good familiarity. I also recognize Fire Corgi, just I think just from Twitter interactions and stuff like that. But I'm at least glad we had some familiar faces on Sheer Cold.
Yeah, for sure. I guess like knowing Toma, was it like easier to like let's I guess get along with the rest of the members, and like I guess like what were like some of like the more interesting things you learned about Sheer Cold, or like just like them as a team?
Um, Honestly, for me, I think the interesting thing, I don't know if this was intentional by the people who matched us up, but there was like a lot of overlap in the weapon pools, which like our team does do a bit of niche selection as far as having like a brush and a rapid quite frequently. So the fact that that was also present for the members of Sheer Cold kind of gave us something to go off of. Um, Aside from that, there wasn't a lot of other surprises I found. Soren can totally disagree with me there, though.
No, I could tell. Uh, at least like with the familiarity and stuff, like it looked like Toma is like their backbone for how the team is structured.
Mm.
I wouldn't say captain because I cannot 100% confirm, but uh, yeah, definitely the first thing I noticed was the weapon overlap, and I could tell they were a vibe team. I don't know how I would describe it, but like a team that they put themselves before the game. Like
Hmm.
we're all teammates at the end of the day, but like we're friends before that.
Yeah, like
And
they think about, I guess what you said was correct, like the vibe. I guess like um trying to think of like what my team calls it, but it's like if you don't vibe with us, you usually don't stay around.
right,
Yeah.
Yeah, friends first, team second, and that's a similar vibe that we have with the Salt and Pepper. I mean, if we weren't that first, I don't think we would have been such a long-lasting team that we are now.
Hmm. I guess like what I'm trying to, I will say there was a thought process when pairing up teams, and I'm sure they looked at you guys and was like, oh, you guys have very similar weapon pools to Sheer Cold. So I think there definitely was a little more intention on that one. Some of them were a little more random, but if we knew information about people, we try to pair them up with people we knew would, I guess, match the vibe, or probably like just get the most out of it. Because like imagine a off meta team being coached by a team who only plays meta, which is like pretty tough.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
something we've never really like relied on for us as well, so we know how to get around with unique solutions. Is yeah, that would be a good way to put it, I suppose.
Yeah, for sure. I guess going into more of the coaching side of things, like, has anyone on the like team before coached, or like, I guess you two, because you're here with me, like, have and either of you two coached or like done coaching either for team or one-on-one, like any type of that sort before the program?
For me, I had I had a phase back in S2 where I was helping out a Tunaverse. I don't know if you remember that name.
Mm-hmm.
I was helping them out for while they were still in low ink,
Mm-hmm.
and that was for like a couple months. Uh, and I thought I did a pretty good job. I turned them into an alpha team within 1 month, and I was like, hey, I might be good at this. But that was the only real time I sat down and took coaching seriously, just because it's kind of time. It's a hefty time put in to like help out people like that, especially if, like you try to push yourself as a player, and then you try to push four other people separately who don't have the same mindset as you. Uh, it's a tough thing, and I did for what I could at the time, and I mean they're all like separate now because that team's been long gone for a little bit, but I think they took a lot from me in their experience, and they pushed it in their gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
As for me, I think I've coached a couple teams in the past and done some various VOD reviews here and there. Like mildly, sometimes people will ask me to coach their LAN team, and I don't really think I can count that. But at the moment, I do also coach the team Sub Power Up, which is a lot of the ITAP people and Purdue students. So it's like it's Magic, it's Mizuno, it's Asterum. Koreki, those folks from Purdue have their own team, and that's the one that I've been mainly focusing my attention to. But I do have plans as well to start putting my foot in for CCA as well because I found out one of my local schools, Algonquin College, is going to have a team this season. They won their first match, I believe, so far, but I'm hoping that if I'm able to start this, I can keep that up as the season progresses. We'll see how that goes, but it's a very happy time for me finding out that my local city has more of a Splatoon scene than I thought. As for the rest of Assault and Pepper, I don't think any of them, at least from the current roster, have done anything involving coaching. At least nothing like within the depth that Soren and I have. I think that would be the case. So this is the first time for a lot of them.
Gotcha. I mean, like, I think, at least for like Soren like coached through like that low ink phase, and that's like ideally what this program is. It's to like help the low ink teams, like, some of them don't really know who to talk to or like how to improve. So like giving them a bit of a like push to see like this is where I can get help, or like this is like something that like information that they can get from just higher level players. And I guess like going into that, I think Soren might have I don't know, this was a topic that came up when I was talking with other coaching teams, but it's like compared to coaching, like, let's say if a top level team or player coaches like a mid-level team, mid-level player, is a lot different compared to like coaching low level or like people who are new to comp. I guess like were there any things that you noticed from like the different types of, I guess, levels that you would have been you've coached before?
Um, I remember seeing this Google Doc circulating the other day on Twitter that was something about how each different division sees a different scope of a problem,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not gonna say it's 100% like spot on because it the perspective, like I've never been like a low level, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know like the full like range of it all. But yeah, it's just with team like the different level like sometimes I have trouble considering myself high level, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think I have it all figured out personally. But uh, it's good to offer perspective to these teams, just because some are stuck in their way of how they do things, because that's just how you know you don't really get it taught to you. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like they find a way that works for them, and then they stick with it for a while. But then when you open like the door for these people, and you show them the paths that they could change, like, oh, think of pushing and defense like this instead of this, and or the flow of the match, what you should do when XYZ happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to show those to them, and like just like how open-ended the game can be. That's why I think open-ended stuff is always like the good off way with coaching, just because you want to give your guys the room to like think for themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and problem solve. Just because you can give the answers to anyone, but you know, uh, you gotta just learn to apply it for yourself.
Yeah, I share a pretty similar opinion to Soren on this one. It's a lot of like different principles that different sort of levels of Splatoon hold on to. So you'll notice in mid-level they kind of have a lot of the basic fundamentals down, but they lack a lot of the refinement that high-level Splatoon cares about, which is really more about like teamwork rather than just raw mechanics from one or the other player. So it's just a matter of connecting those dots and moving them into that next level to prepare them for I guess the next cycle, the next stage. What's going to be the next building block in the foundation for getting you to that next spot, and really building that into their muscle memory as well, and thinking of ways that they can approach a problem slightly differently, that will maybe stick a little bit better than just saying, hey, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. You got to give them like something actionable that's reasonable to do.
I guess like I've this is how I've learned this analogy, but it's like uh give a person a fish and they'll have a meal for a day, but teach them how to fish and they have a meal for like the rest of their life, right? It's like
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
so it's like
I'm laughing because I joked about that quote like a week ago on my Twitter. Um,
yeah, but like, that's how I've been taught a lot of things. That's like, again, we this analogy is pretty commonly used, but it's like it's very important to give, I guess, the students or just players like not necessarily like telling them what to do, but how to like apply and use what we're trying to like, I guess, give them, you know?
yeah, it's exactly that. You never want to just be like, what you're doing is wrong here, and not really giving a reasonable replacement or a logical way for them to apply what you're doing. It's not realistic to expect someone to just be able to turn on a dime and go, okay, I'm just gonna be perfect now and apply everything you've said to me. It's just not that simple when you're working in the moment. Your brain is picking up on so many different things. So it's really just a matter of finding unique ways to nail in new skills to players.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess like with you guys having that experience, there's obviously you guys know that it's like no, I don't directly tell them things, but I guess like if like we have a lot of new or people who are like first time coaches in this program, I guess like what would I guess like one of the advice or like pieces of advice you would try to like give the players or the coaches in terms of like I guess applying this like teach by applying and not by telling.
Um, I think the best way as well is I take this from my work life as well, but just leading by example. Uh, when you're trying to explain something to a team, especially one that you may have a little bit more experience than, try and relate it a bit to your situation as well, and say, okay, I was able to start learning how to do this myself by doing X and Y. Maybe try doing this at first and see how that makes you feel. And it's all about just, you want it to seem reasonable, and you want to believe in the things that you're telling them as well, right? You can't just say like, I think that doing this is going to work perfectly for you. You need to have some sort of like mental backing as far as like the things that are coming out of your mouth, because if you don't actually have confidence in the solutions that you're giving, then there's no actual point to doing it, right?
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. I guess moving on from that, I guess going into like coaching the team that you're given, like I guess what was one of the challenges the teams had, like maybe like they were struggling against certain comp or like certain positioning, and like how did you guys go into, I guess, trying to help them understand what am I even saying, but like how did you like go into tackling that challenge that they had?
I were you able to handle much of the scrim, Soren? I wasn't sure. I think we passed off
Uh, yeah.
around
I was
different
in the
times.
I was the second half with them, and it looked like they had absorbed a lot of information. So they're trying to fit in all the puzzle pieces that we've given them, and trying to figure out what they wanted to do. I think the number one thing I was pointing out to them was with the comp they were playing with
Mm-hmm.
versus the comp they were playing is they were playing a bunch of short range shooters and like a roller. I was you guys should be taking chance of high ground on these maps, just because it looked like they were having trouble basing using the weapons they had. They were running like Nautilus and Katana, stuff that likes to base people out, and they were trying to apply that. And I think my Discord broke. I'm not sure.
Nope.
Uh, okay. Uh, they were trying to apply that, and they were having a little bit of trouble with it. They picked it up at the end with the last two games, which was good. But I was in the second half, so like, of course, they had they had all my four lineup with them for the first half.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
they were processing a lot of information, and I thought they did good for like the hour and a half we had them with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One of the biggest struggles that I feel like I notice is a lot of the time early game they were really nailing it down. They were getting these good leads, but then it was always these like overtime moments where I think they were kind of hitting the panic button a bit, and that was causing the game to kind of go awry. And I feel like they were able to turn that down quite a bit by at least the time that you got there as well, Soren. So just a matter of catching on to patterns as well, and even just pointing them out makes some people realize that like, oh no, like this is what we're doing. Like every time our lead is at risk towards the end of these games here, we have been getting into riskier positions, and it's costing us more than it should. And so I
Right
noticed Nee
about
was
it.
able to give a lot of like good coaching to the brush player that they had. So I mean, props to her as well on that, because it did make a lot of leeway for them.
Ooh, another thing that I just remembered, sorry,
No worries.
was the one thing that I saw as as the guy who like thanks quotations for the team, tells people directions and stuff, was that the comms they were having were very just location, like guy over
Mhm.
here, guy over there, I'm going here. But not a lot of, I want to push this, let's push this together. Someone take this point and I'll take this point, we could pinch maybe. That was one of the first things I think you guys pointed out to them, which was good,
Yes.
because they started doing that a lot more when I jumped in. Um, but yeah, that was another main issue or main thing that we noticed.
Yeah, I definitely think that just comes also just with time. That's like something
Yeah.
People get more used to as they do it more.
Mhm.
I guess like if you guys had one piece of advice for like teams like Sheer Cold or like teams in that like low ink level playing field, it's like what's one piece of advice you would try to give them to sort of like start elevating their play or like improving their play?
Do we each get one, or
Oh,
is
you.
it
I
is
mean,
it just like one from the
oh
whole
no,
team?
you guys can each say what like anything you guys want.
Okay. All right. Soren can go first.
Um, to these like lower teams, just playing as many things as you can, is the number one thing for me. Like tourney above everything. Just because you get to get so many experiences versus so many different comps, you put yourself in that high pressure, and it's better to get used to it now than later. Because some days I have my chokes where I'm like I'm anxious, but
Mhm.
just playing as many things as you can, get the experience that you can get now, so that later, you know, you you're able to like the deciding factors won't be your nerves. It'll just be you and your opponents. So play a
Um,
lot.
yeah, I fully agree with Soren. I also want to say like I find a lot of newer teams they come as fast as they go. It's very minimal and short life cycle for a lot of them. I my biggest tip is like talk to each other, like stay together if you can. A lot of differences I find just can be discussed for a lot of people. I know there's some things that just are fully unbearable, but like a lot of people just think they're fully incompatible with their team or their group, and they're not really willing to hear it through or work out a bigger picture solution. I would just advise people to stay together a little bit more. Like teamwork's going to get you farther than just about everything in this game, and every time you join a new team or create a new project, you're basically building that up from scratch once again. And it's one of the best environments to get better at the game is with the same group of people consistently. So that would be my main piece of advice is just like just work on being better people to each other.
For sure. I mean, as Pop Gun likes to say it, like don't be a low ink warrior. Don't only play low ink. And then
And
cuz
then disband, yeah.
yeah, and then they just disband because they're like, oh, I didn't win low ink, or it's like, ah, no, I only want to win low ink. Like, I don't want to get low ink banned. It's like, no, it's like, how are you gonna improve as a player if like all you're doing is playing low ink, you know?
They've reached
Right.
their conclusion. I'm done now. Like
Yeah.
life goals accomplished. Low ink had.
Yeah, for sure. Like again, thank you guys so much for your time. But I'll go on to the last question because we're going. I'm taking a lot of you guys' time. Um,
Nah, you're good.
but do you think like this event, like this specific event, can help bridge the gap between the different skill levels of the community? Because like things that I always hear from like I guess someone who like is like sort of in the in between phase right now, but it's
Mhm.
like when people get low ink banned, they're like, ah, low ink's lame. There's nothing to watch. Or like, I don't know any of these people from like mid level, high level, and then from low level, you always have like people who are like, how do I talk to this person? It's like I don't want to embarrass myself, or like I don't have any connections. Who am I supposed to like talk to for like higher level advice?
I think this tournament's a great idea as far as bridging that gap. I would have like never even like thought about talking to Toma about the game aside from commentary, right? There's a lot of people. I think I get this impression from sort of lower and mid level that a lot of people seem to think that we're harder to approach or it's like a big intimidating thing. But I like 9 times out of 10, like we're all just pretty chill. Like if you have any sort of advice or questions, like most of us will be very happy to answer or chat or talk. Like I could go on for hours if anyone just asked me anything.
I think the events. This is a good idea. I've never really seen anything like this before, so that's why I'm a backer for this right now. Just because You know, this is the first go around for this, so you know, if it sticks, it sticks. That's good. But
Mhm.
yeah, if in any case, I don't think the like bigger picture as a community, we probably could have done this without the event, but you know, better late
Mhm.
than never.
Yeah, I mean, like,
But
it's, there's always somewhere to grow, and as we go on, we can slowly get better.
yeah, better together, so the competition's all good.
Yeah. All right. That was my last question for you guys, but do you guys have like any last statements or like comments on like either the event or like just like coaching in general?
Um, I think I think if there's anything that I would like more from this event, it's probably I just don't feel like we got that much time to
Mm-hmm.
sort of talk with the team, especially because it's like Ludi season and CCA season, so a lot of Splatoon players are super busy. Even the team we're coaching, right? They're also in Ludi.
Mm-hmm.
And I am sure we're not the only pair of teams that's like this as well. So I think maybe even just like having more of this, even in the off seasons, or like just giving a longer period of time to build a better bond between sort of the coaching team and the coached team, I suppose,
Yeah.
would be really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's definitely something we talked about, and we definitely do think it was a little rush, but certain things happen, but it's good to know at least a lot of people are still interested and like really do enjoy what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, my last piece would be um coaching is like a steep hill. You know, I won't say it's for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
but I think if you ever feel like you have anything to offer to any player, don't be afraid to, you know, like if anyone ever asks you, don't be afraid to help out. Just because, even if you think it's minuscule or anything like that, anyone can use any words of advice and you know apply it to anything they can do, in game, out of game. So you know, let's just all push to help each other out.
For sure. Thank you guys so much for your time, but where can like people find you? Like where can people find Soren? Where can people find Siren? And I guess um where can they find Assault and Pepper?
Um,
uh,
you can go, you go.
yeah. So both my Twitter and my Twitch are at Siren Banshee. That's CYRENBANSHI. The team has its own Twitter as well, and like pretty much everyone who has been on the team and is on the team as well is followed by the account. So if you want to find me, if you want to, well, Jeff's not actually there because Jeff had no Twitter, but if you want to find me, that's where you will find them as well, and all the other peeps like Chino.
My socials are Synsoren, SYNOSSOERN. Both on Twitter and Twitch. I stream for our team for the Ludi sets, so if you're interested in that, you see my VODs there. Um, and that's about it. ATP Twitter is ATP underscore Splatoon. So gas that if you can. We play the game.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for your time and thank you for the interview.
Yeah,
No
thank you for
problem. It was
having us.
fun.